Yesterday I was at the barber shop and the barber cut me while shaving my neck with the clippers. He then said I had an ingrown hair, and used tweezers to pull out the hair. He then put a cloth on the cut to stop the bleeding. He kept dabbing the cut to make it stop, then used a white crayon, that stopped the bleeding. It burned for a second but stopped the bleeding. The cut/ingrown hair is fine, but my main concern is the blood and the dirty barber shop. It didn't seem like anything he used was sterilized, especially the white crayon thing he used to stop the bleeding. The tweezer was just sitting on the counter as well. My main question is it possible to get HIV from such an exposure? I was pretty worried right after, but didn't really say anything. It's been about a week but I keep thinking about the incident. I actually never go to this barber shop, and don't plan on going back. It's in a decent area, but it didn't seem to clean.
Hello customer, I hope I can help you here. Blood surely can transmit the HIV virus, if it was present, and if it was fresh blood. HIV is not a very stable virus outside the body, and it rather quickly dies in room air temperatures, within about 10 to 15 minutes. I don't know of course the situation at the barber shop. I suggest what you do is call there, and find out for yourself the procedures they use for sanitizing their equipment in between clients. I can't imagine that they would reuse the same instruments without cleaning them in between clientele. However, stranger things have happened. Let's assume the worst and that the tweezers were reused. They'd have to be covered with someone else's HIV plus blood, and it would have had to been pretty recent for it to have been able to infect you. Remember, the HIV virus does die after about 10 minutes in room air temperatures. The same would apply with the white crayon. If you are very concerned, I truly suggest you discuss with your own doctor, as HIV prophylaxis, medication you take after a HIV exposure to reduce the chances of getting HIV, is only effective for the first 72 hours after the exposure. And with each passing hour it's not taken, the chances of it working diminish. My advice here, call the salon, and then depending on what they tell you, call your own doctor and discuss any need for HIV prophylaxis. I hope that helped. Sincerely, Susan.
Hi Susan, this happened last Friday, so it's been about 6 days already. So is there any point of the prophylaxis? Also, most barber shops, without stereotyping, are run pretty thuggish in South Florida, and don't really take any precautions when it comes to that. I highly doubt they clean off any of the stuff, and if they do, probably just a quick second spray, that doesn't do much.
Hello customer, I apologize. Your post said yesterday I was at the barber shop, that's why I thought this was a very recent incident. If this happened 6 days ago, it's well past the point of the 72-hour prophylaxis. I still would, however, call the salon and find out what they at least claim they do. And I would speak to your doctor about it. He may want a baseline HIV test. This will let you know if you have HIV right now. As HIV has a few-month incubation period, another test can be done in 3 months, then again at 6 months past the exposure, and then at 1 year's time. Here is an article from the CDC about HIV prophylaxis. It's written all in medicalese, I'm afraid, but you may find it informative if you care to wade through it. http://www.cdc.gov/mmwr/preview/mmwr/html/rr5402a1.htm #1 I hope I was able to help. Sincerely, Susan.
What are my chances of getting this? I don't want to over-worry about something that is so nominal.
Customer, I can't say specifically what your chances are. I would guess, however, judging from what you wrote, that they would be very minimal. HIV dies in room air after 15 minutes, after all. I would imagine that the equipment had been sitting there for at least that length of time. In the article I gave you, there is a chart on the bottom. If 10,000 drug users shared needles with 10,000 HIV-positive people, 67 of those 10,000 would end up with HIV. Sharing needles is considered a high-risk behavior, and you can see it only gives a 10,000 chance of getting HIV. I would say your risk would be phenomenally lower. Sincerely, Susan.
Well, in barber shops it's one haircut after the next, which are immediate. I went right after the previous customer, and probably got cut within 5 minutes of the haircut. So I guess it's 10,000 chance, if he did have HIV, the customer before me, and almost 0 chance if he didn't?
Hello customer, I have no idea what your chances are of getting HIV. I think they are very slim to none. In basing that 10,000 guess on the most analogous thing I could find that had statistics, and that would be a shared needle stick. But really, from what you described, I really don't think the situation is all that similar. Certainly if the guy prior to you did not have HIV, you are in the clear. Certainly if he did, I would think my analogy would be the worst possible statistics, and even then they would be really way too high. At this point, there is nothing you can do to affect the outcome. Worrying will only make you sick with stress. Have the HIV tests as I described above. That will help tell you exactly what your HIV status is. I hope that helps. Sincerely, Susan.
Susan, is it okay if I just wait the standard 3 months and then do an oral test? I'm insanely scared of taking blood. I heard the oral test has results in 15 minutes as well.
Hello customer, yes, the oral tests are as accurate as the blood test, but I would do the oral test now in addition to the 3 months, for the reasons I stated above. Now we'll tell you that you are negative now. If you only did the test at 3 months, you would not know, in the unlikely event it was positive, if it was because of this incident, or because you had already had HIV from something else. I hope that helps. Sincerely, Susan.
If you have a health question and want to chat with a doctor now, visit justanswer.com/ythealth.